right, so I'm glad y'all are here. For those of you that may not know me, I am Brianna Beers, Bree to my friends, and I own the recently rebranded Bree Beers and Associates, formerly Lippa Beers and Associates. We help small businesses and individuals with their tax prep as well as tax planning. Tax planning is our jam because it's where we get to strategize with our clients to help them minimize their annual tax burden and keep that extra cash to invest back into themselves and into their business. You might be watching this training in a variety of places, but if it is not in our awesome Facebook community, Money, Taxes, and Finance for Small Businesses, you're missing out. If you're a business owner, you should definitely hop on over there and join that group. It's an amazing, supportive community, and I just love my little group over there. Those of you that may be in that group but are new, just an FYI, we have 2 live sessions a week, usually. Mondays at 10 Mountain Standard Time are our normal trainings, and then Fridays are our updates and our updates and Q&A session. So I'm gonna start. I've gotten a lot of questions over the last 2 weeks about the new Form 941. So what we're going to talk about, and this isn't going to take very long, but at the very beginning, what we're going to talk about right now is this new 941 form, and this is for those of you that process your own payroll. Okay, if you don't process your own payroll, you might want to just listen in because it has to do with some of the laws that have passed with the Families First Act back in March. So keep your tuning on, but if you're not actually processing your own payroll, you don't care about the minute details. But there is a new 941 when you process your second quarter payroll, which is due tomorrow. Okay, so if you haven't done it yet, get on it because tomorrow's your deadline for filing your payroll reports, right, for second quarter. So you guys, with this new Form 941, there were 11 new lines in the first part and 7 new lines in the third part. And a few little modifications to various texts and everything. And I'm not going to go over this line by line because I know there are a few of you in here who do your own payroll because you've reached out to me. You know, there's 5 or 6 of you that have reached out with questions. But for the most part, I know most of our people in our group and that watch our YouTube channel have someone processing payroll. Okay, but there are just a few areas I want to go over. Okay, so first, line 5 of the of the new 941 is your qualified sick and family leave wages. So this is what they're asking for here is wages paid. Okay, the wages paid for qualified sick and family leave during second quarter. What does that mean? Well, the Family First Act required employers to pay their employees for time missed due to COVID. Okay, and I did a training on this way back in March or April when the Families First Act passed. But if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, what are you talking about? And you want me to do another training? Let me know. Let me know in the comments, DM me, whatever, and I'll do one. But I did do one back in March or April about the Families First Act. So line 5 is saying, how much did you pay your staff for sick and family leave that is qualified under the Families First Act? And then 11 goes into your non-refundable portion of your credits. So the Families First Act required you to pay your employees for this time off. It included a provision for said employers to receive a credit for the wages they had to pay in line 5. Okay, so see what they did there? They said, okay, you have to pay your team for if they have to miss work for if they're sick with COVID or under certain family requirements, but then we're going to give you a credit to essentially reimburse you for that money. All right, so that's what the big changes on the 941 are. And that's honestly as in-depth as I want to go today because as you may or may not know, I don't do payroll. Okay, I'm a tax accountant, but I do not do in-house payroll. We used to, but it's a pain in the butt. So we outsource it. And this is where I'm going to tell any of you out there who are still doing your own in-house payroll to get a payroll company. All right, I can get you great pricing with ADP. I'm on the ADP accountant board and love ADP. And I also am an advocate for some of you smaller companies for Gusto. So if you are interested in getting on payroll, please reach out to me and no kickback to me. I just will help you, we'll help you get set up with a connection at ADP or Gusto. Okay. So next on the agenda. So earlier this week, the Senate rolled out another $1 trillion Corona relief bill proposal. This is just a proposal. I've gotten so many questions and so many concerns and what does this mean to me? DMs and emails that right now it means nothing. The Senate passed it, which is just the first of so many steps that we need to go through before we get to a final bill. But it is a really good indication that something is going to come down the pipeline. It may look nothing like what the Senate just passed, but something should be coming down the pipeline. All right. And so I'm not going to go into a lot of details and a lot of figures because, again, it can change a whole bunch before it actually passes. But I just want to just tell you a little bit about what it does cover. Like, what does it mean? Well, they want to extend the federal unemployment benefit, but it's going to be a substantially lower federal benefit. And then they're also proposing more stimulus checks. Okay, so those are the two big things that, based on the multiple things I've read, are the ones that'll probably stick in some way, shape, or form once it gets all passed. But again, I'll keep you updated as it passes and what gets passed. And when we finally do have a new bill, y'all, I'm on it. Okay. In that same line, we keep hearing rumors about this blanket forgiveness for PPP loans. All right. PPP loans under 150. And we've heard this from a bunch of different places. Again, nothing's passed yet, okay? So there's no law, there's no guidance or anything like that. There's not even a promise that they're gonna pass anything, okay? It's just, we're hearing rumors of it. And let me tell you I am all for it. I am 100% for them passing some sort of forgiveness for loans under 150,000. And I believe the stat was something like 85% of PPP loans that were given out were under this $150,000 threshold. So this blanket forgiveness was actually requested and would be this like godsend to the banks, who are going to be the ones who otherwise have to deal with all this forgiveness paperwork and the forgiveness applications and all that. So the big banks are the ones that are advocating for this. And so we will see what comes of it. And I really do hope something passes, because you guys, if you're new, you're not new, I'll let you know, you guys, I have spent tons and tons of time with two other CPAs working through PPP and EIDL and essentially becoming experts on this stuff for you guys. And I'll talk about that a little more in a minute. But from our point of view, we created this Ppp Tracker template, which I will put a copy, I'll talk about in a minute, and I'll put a copy or a link in the comments. But from someone who knows this PPP, the loan, the forgiveness, the application, I know it forwards and backwards, and it still has convoluted pieces and it's confusing, and I cannot imagine being a non-accountant business owner trying to wade through this. It is insane. And so that is why me, and shout out to Jamie Troll and Kelly Vincent, that is why way back in March we did make a pact to show up for you guys and feed you guys with as much information and help and support as we could for anything that was involved with the Families First and the CARES Act, specifically with a lot of focus being on the PPP and the EIDL. Okay, so anyway, that all said, it's crazy important for me to note right here, you guys, that even if some form of blanket forgiveness is passed, you as the business owner are still going to be required to certify in some way, shape, or form that you spent the funds according to the law. Okay, I'm confident that's still going to be a requirement. While they may not make you apply for forgiveness and do all of these calculations and submit all these reports, I am so confident that at the very minimum, they are going to require that you certify that you spent the money correctly, that you spent it within the time frame, and all of these things. Just a quick refresher, because I know it's been a few weeks since we've talked about PPP. So what that means, you guys, so when I say you're going to certify that you followed the rules, right? You got to remember that you had to spend at least 60% of your loan of the funds on payroll. The other 40% can be spent on business rent, business mortgage interest, utilities, or business debt interest. And you have a 24-week covered period from the time you receive the money to spend it. Okay, and that is up from the original 8 weeks, though if you did have a PPP loan before June 5th, you could consolidate it down to the 8-week period. And here we go. Here is your PPP tracker. I hope that everyone in this group already has it, and that's in my Facebook group has it. I really do, because this thing, if you have a PPP loan, from the minute you start spending money, you should be using this PPP tracker. So there's the link to the PPP tracker that Jamie Troll, Kelly Vincent, and I created. It's awesome. This is what you're going to use to make sure you're spending your funds properly and timely. Like I said, even if they give blanket forgiveness, you guys, you're still going to have to certify that you spent the money the correct way, you spent it in the right amount of time, and you're still going to have to keep your documentation because even if they do blanket forgiveness, the SBA can come back in 2-3 years and audit your loan. So this blanket forgiveness is not a free ticket. It's basically just a get out of the application process card, not necessarily a get out of the whole thing card. Okay, and that's really, really, really important for you guys to really let that sink in. Okay, and so with all that, I'm excited to share this last bit of information with you guys that we are going to offer PPP consultations. So you guys, like I mentioned earlier, I have spent hundreds of hours learning the ins and outs of the PPP and the EIDL specifically. And I worked with, again, the two amazing CPAs that I mentioned, Jamie Troll and Kelly Vincent, and we created this free PPP tracker above, that we're offering to you, which required super intricate knowledge of the bill and all the interim rulings that have continued to be released. Like, you guys, I wish I counted the hours that the three of us have spent on this because it's insane. And at this point, I'm actually I guess I don't know if I call myself an expert because I don't know but I promise you there are very few CPAs that you guys have access to that have more knowledge about PPP and EIDL than I do. And I'm actually advising other CPAs on PPP and EIDL. Like that's how much I know. So basically what I'm saying is I know my shit. I know it. And because of this, I've been recording all these free videos and trainings for y'all. And I've been trying to share as much of this information as I get it with you guys. So to try to walk you through and help you through this chaos. And so for those of you that have been with me since like March, like this has consumed my life. There are still tons of you out there that just you're asking more specific questions and you need just a little bit more help. So that's what I'm here for. Okay. So there are, like I said, there's so many of you out there still that just need that advising taken an extra step. There we go. You have specific questions. I get specific. How do I spend my money? Am I spending it right? I want to spend it on this, but I'm not sure if it qualifies, right? So many of you have specific questions about how to spend your money. And then I know a lot of you are also needing help on how to maximize your forgiveness. You're like, I have these expenses, I have this much time. How do I make it so I can get my full loan forgiven, right? And you've used the tracker, you got it, but you still just it's not quite there. So that's why I decided to offer PPP consultations. So this is your chance to chat one-on-one with me about all your specific PPP questions. That said, if you have an EIDL, you want to sneak that in, go right ahead. I'm not gonna discriminate here. They're called PPP consultations, but if you need EIDL help too, I'm here for it. Okay. So I am booking these in 30-minute increments. That said, if you're like, there's no way 30 minutes is enough time, you can schedule more than one session. You can chat with me now, and then you can chat with me again later. There's no limit, but 30 minutes, based on some research calls and market research I did, 30 minutes seems to be adequate time that will get most of your questions answered and get most of you guys the help you need to get you where you need to be with your PPP. So these consultations are available to my current clients, and they're also available if you're not a client. If you're not a Bree Beers and Associates client, I can still help you with your PPP. All right. So if maybe you don't have an accountant, maybe you do have an accountant, but they have no idea about PPP, because I know a lot of accountants didn't take the time to learn that, and that's fine. So I'm here for you. I am also prepared. I know I have a lot of people in my money tax and finance group. I have a lot of bookkeepers and aspiring CPAs and accountants in training over there. So if you need me, you don't have to be a client. You don't have to be a business owner. It could be if you're a bookkeeper and accountant and you just need some PPP support, got it. If you are a business owner and you have a bookkeeper and accountant and you want to do a group call, we can do that. Okay, I'm pretty much open to anything at this point. I just want to get the right information that y'all need to you. And so this is the best way to do it. Plus, I think I'll be able to we'll do it in a Zoom call. So I'll give you the Zoom video so you have it for reference. So yay, PPP consultations. That said, I should probably put the link in the comments. So that said, you guys, when you log in now and you look at the PPP consultation link, you're going to see that the availability is pretty limited right now. But if slots start to fill up quickly, I can juggle my schedule around and I will make more availability. So I will keep an eye on that. But if this is something you absolutely need and want from us, then get on my calendar. All right. So the sign up process is super easy. You're going to click on that link I just put in there. You'll be directed to my calendar. You pick your appointment date and time, and then there's a short intake form because I do want some information about what you want to chat about. And then you'll put in your payment information and boom, you're all set. So I'm just really excited to be able to help you guys on another level. I know that I tried my best to get all the information out there through free content, through videos and trainings, but I know for some of you that's just not enough. So for those of you that it's just not enough, here you go. I am so excited to offer this to you guys. So it doesn't look like we actually have any questions in the Money, Tax, and Finance Q&A or in the chat box, so we're good there. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys go today. I'm really excited again to be able to support both my clients and my non-clients with these PPP consultations, and I'm excited to be able to help you guys. So get on my calendar as soon as you can, because I'm really excited to share my information with those of you that need it. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.